Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you! Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
The NASCAR Weekly Podcast, live from Florida, is brought to you by Moby. Their all-new beard trimmer is fantastic. That's how I got my beard looking as clean and refined as it is. Moby's beard trimmer features an adjustable 5-step guide for perfect hair length, ultra-hygienic silicone bristles that deliver powerful sonic vibrations, a charging stand, and also feature fully waterproof capability. So if you really were feeling crazy, you could go out in the lake right here with the gators and shave yourself. I will not be doing that, but be sure to check out Moby for yourself. You can find them at Walmarts everywhere, or you can click the link down below and find out how you can get Moby's great new beard trimmer for yourself. Thank you to Moby for sponsoring the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Now let's go to the couch. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. We have our three usual hosts, minus Danny B, who was... I saw him on TV last night. Did you guys see him on TBS?
Yeah.
Dude, they had seats for... That wasn't WWE.
It was like some
AEW.
Yeah,
AEW.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. But we're live in Florida, about an hour away from Daytona International Speedway. We're also joined by another well-known YouTube personality. We've got IDK player, straight fresh from NR Night in America. Good to see you, my friend. This is your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, I love Daytona, and you guys said come, I'm here I am.
Yeah, it's a short drive for you. It's a pretty long flight.
About
for me.
like 5.5 hours.
You drove here, right, from Illinois?
Yeah, 23 hours.
I drove here from Goodlettsville, Tennessee, 12 hours.
I mean, I stopped at his place first, so.
Yeah.
I flew. I'm lazier than they are. But welcome, everybody. We're doing this pre-recorded because we are in a remote lake house. Internet, of course, not lending itself kindly to doing this live, to trying to stream it. So we're doing a quick kind of post-qualifying recap. The dual races are tonight, so by the time you're seeing this, hopefully the dual races are on deck. We appreciate you all tuning in. Last night we did try to go live. We got some super chats from Sato Kaiba, the Dragon Master was one of them. I had the other one pulled up. I'll pull it up in a second. Speedway Anywhere also sent in a super chat like 4 hours before we tried to go live. So we appreciate it. All of you who support the show week in, week out, we really, truly appreciate it. That's why we're able to be down here in Florida for the Daytona 500. This is my first 500. I know you guys have been before, but this may be the first one with good weather.
Yeah,
which is
I think
key.
so.
Yes.
So it's thanks to viewers like you guys that we're able to do this show. This is our 5th year doing it. This is only like our 3rd or 4th show largely in person. So
Yeah, it really is.
we wouldn't be here without you guys. So with that being said, I'm doing all the talking. Late last night, single car qualifying for the Daytona 500 pole. No surprise, it's all Hendrick. Larson, Bowman. Anybody shocked?
Almirola.
Your boy.
Yeah.
Walking into this house and just seeing that 10 on the screen, I was like, drop everything I gotta know. And then, I mean, let's be honest here. When we were watching practice, it showed Fords, and everyone out there was like, oh my gosh, I think the Fords are gonna get it. But,
Cody Ware might get the
oh my, yeah, and then, but, statistically, Hendrick has always been good with qualifying, and it was gonna be what's gonna break it up. I mean, people were talking about Harvick. But, I mean, somebody showed me at one point, Almirola was like, 29th quickest at some point during practice?
Yeah.
All of a sudden just shocked everyone.
Well, and he broke up the 1, 2, 3, 4 that Hendrick had going because they have Larson, Bowman, Byron, then you got Almirola, and then Elliott in 5th.
And you think about all the Fords. Like, think you have Harvick, you have Blaney, and, like, all these drivers that are statistically in a good area to go ahead and qualify higher than Almirola, and all of a sudden just comes out of nowhere and just shoots them out.
Yeah, another big shocker was Harrison Burton just skyrocketing to the top.
So some of the Fords were fast. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was mostly Chevys. You had a couple of Gibbs cars in the top 10, but the Fords really
especially
kind
the
of behind
Penske.
besides.
Well, especially the Penske. I don't know. Just the Penske ones seem to be like the more consistent ones. I mean, you had Eric Almirola, but we were talking about that before he qualified. I mean, Storehouse Racing. I mean, they only had 2 in the top 20 until Almirola had qualified and saved the day.
Well, and you got 6 Chevys, 2 Fords, 2 Toyotas because you had the Trackhouse duo up in the top 10 as well as the JGR duo, and then you have the 2 Fords.
Yeah, Trackhouse was impressive too. Chastain was on the provisional for one or two cars.
And then for colleague racing, Daniel Hemrick, he was the first to qualify, and usually like the first one to qualify, like they're usually not up there for so long. And even though he didn't make the top 10, he barely missed it though. He just barely missed it, and he was up there for a while.
Exciting for some of the part-time teams. Also, of course, two guys that got locked in. Jacques Villeneuve was locked in on time.
Noah Gragson,
F1 champ Noah Gragson. This is his first Cup race, right?
I love the difference between the two of them. You have a world-class champion in Jacques Villeneuve, and then you have Noah Gragson.
Well,
I love Noah Gragson, but it's funny.
I saw a stat that, Gragson was born in 98, so when Jacques won his world title with F1, he wasn't even born.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think I saw a tweet of something that, like, Villeneuve had said that being in the Cup cars or being in NASCAR had been, like, the most fun he had. And with this being his first 500, I find it funny, too, that it's Noah's first 500. Isn't it Noah's first start?
It should be.
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
I remember he tried to qualify last year.
Didn't make it.
Missed the show, and then, here we are.
I'm happy to see him in there, like, because he's the one that I was most excited last year to think was going to be in the race. And then he was the one who mixed it up the most in the duels. He's going to be like that wild card out there. He's going to be the wild card that's not Joey Logano blocking everyone. And I'm really excited. I hope...
I'm here for it.
I kind of hope the last lap is Joey Logano trying to block Noah Gragson. Because it's just going to be absolute insanity with that. Yeah.
I just love Noah Gragson because you can tell he's genuinely happy to be here. Like, say what you will, he comes from a privileged upbringing. He's had great opportunities his whole career, but he's won some races. It still means a lot to him just to be here. When he wins, you see he throws up every other time. He's so amped up about it. Yesterday in the media center, I saw a tweet, I think it was from Gluck or somebody said that, like, when Gragson got up out of his seat, it was so sweaty that he apologized to Kyle Larson, who had to come in.
Another chair.
Yeah, Larson had to get another chair. So, like, Greg, he's obviously had great opportunities, but he's still goofy, and you can tell he's just excited to be a part of it.
I think I heard last year that when he had crashed out of the duels, he actually got out of the car and just stood there for a minute just to take it in. And when they asked him later, he's like, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to be back here, so I need to know what it's like.
He's an interesting character. No, that's fun, too. So two of those guys are both locked in. Who's not? You got Kaz Gralo, Money Team.
Greg Biffle.
Biffle's not. And then both the MBM cars, who were the only one. They look just off the pace.
Yeah.
Timmy Hill and who's in the 55, Yaley. They just looked off the pace. So
cool looking schemes though. All these new teams, cool schemes.
The Money Team car looked better than I thought it would in person.
Yeah. Good schemes, just not the fastest cars in the world.
I just want all the meme teams to make it, just so that we can.
We joked about that during qualifying. There's like all the meme teams, and that's what they're called: the Money Team, NY Racing. Like, it's just the meme teams all went out like one after the other, and it's just. What's happened to the Cup Series? I
gotta say, as somebody who only saw Biffle in the 16 car, it is weird seeing him in the 44.
It is.
It's so weird for me. I'm happy he's back. Don't get me wrong, but it was like I look up and see Biffle, and I'm like 44. 44.
I haven't seen any official reports or anything today, but last night afterwards, he seemed to believe they broke a motor or something.
Okay.
I don't know if that team. I hope that team has a backup motor of some sort. Who knows? But part of me was laughing. It's like maybe it's just. Biffle's used to running with Roush at their peak. Kyle Busch Motorsports and trucks.
Yeah.
Goes to NY Racing. Maybe the motor just sounds like that, man. Like, maybe it's just. I think they have a Hendrick or an RCR motor. An RCR motor.
It would be funny. It's like the motor has problems. Like, no, Greg, you're just slow.
Well, and here's another thing too. I mean, he's been very vocal about the growing pains on their team. I mean, he said they missed 15 minutes of practice before everything got started. I mean,
that's not good.
For some that are watching this for probably the first time, that's a lot. It's 15 minutes that you can be on the track dialing stuff in. And
a couple years ago, that was a penalty.
Yeah.
And especially now, like with the way the practice is set up, it's so limited now. You got to be out there. Track time is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Well. Tonight's the dual races. I know yesterday there was a quote from Logano. They asked if he's going to take it easy because backup cars are limited. He said no. He said no. If you're scared, you're not going to win. So he's going to be crazy. Do you guys expect chaotic dual races tonight? We'll give our Daytona 500 predictions at the end of the show. But tonight in the duels, to set the rest of the field, do you expect chaos or do you expect, as you would say, the train?
I do. Honestly, like, whatever race Logano isn't, I expect, the little choo-choo Highline train to go on or whatever. But then... I don't know. It's like, Logano's going to be aggressive and stuff like that, but then you also have other guys in the field who, I mean, like, you can be, as aggressive as you want, but if you have nobody else going with you, you're just going to fall straight to the bag, So.
The thing I think about is just that, the MBM cars are going to be there. And, they're more than likely going to be the slowest guys in the field, probably lose the draft. And that's no disrespect to them. They were the slowest cars by a wide margin.
Everyone was so close together. And then,
Yeah. I mean, it was like a second between them. And I think it's like you're going to see a bunch of them think, all right, if I just putter around for 60 laps, maybe I'll try and make a spot up like in the draft or a spot or two up at the end of the race, just to get a few better spots to start with. I mean, the only thing these races at this point affect for most of these drivers, as long as they don't crash, is pit selection. That's pretty much it. I mean, they might...
But that's a good point. Like everyone talks about starting position for the Daytona 500, like, doesn't really matter. I think Kyle Busch said it yesterday. Like, it's like, I think he predicted, I'm probably going to qualify 18th, who cares? And that's what he did. Yeah. But pit selection's a good point. Like, that can come into play.
But that's about all I see. I mean... I kind of think Logano's going to try and make a move, and everyone's going to be like, hell no.
Yeah, but what I am scared of, though, because these backup cars are very limited. Eric Jones said straight up, like, yeah, this is our only car and stuff. We don't have any more. And then I think Team Penske only has, they have, like, 3 cars, and then, the 4th, Woods Brothers cars. So basically 4 cars in the field, only 2 backups. So.
Well, I mean... I think it's realistic to think these teams with limited cars or parts or whatever... I think it's reasonable to think that they're just going to pull it off the way the pole sitters would. If they're in the race, why risk one of your only cars that you have, maybe even for the first quarter of the season?
Yeah. No, there's some teams, I can't remember what team it was. It was a smaller team that said that this is their car they're going to run, I think, through the whole West Coast swing as well. It's like, whoa. might even been, I don't think it was SHR. I don't remember what team it was.
Very limited.
It's hard. We're not live right now, but we are still like in the flow, and I don't have the stats pulled up right ahead. But do you think we'll see trains tonight? Do you think it'll be aggressive?
100%. I think Logano was just playing mind games. I mean, when you talk about drivers and stuff that they'll say in media, I listened to Stewart on something that he said that was very prominent. When you tell these guys, like, oh, I'm going to be aggressive, when you are known for being aggressive and occasionally pretty, like, reckless in some areas, I feel like that's going to get some of these guys off their hinges, say, I'm going to stay away from the 22, or in another case, you said single file. I mean, when we watch the duels, usually it's just single file, one line. I think because everything is so limited, we're going to see, like, little groups. So we're going to see single file for probably, like, the top 10, top 12, then you're going to see some of these guys that know they're locked in and they cannot risk this car no matter what. They're just going to start dropping back, all the way back. But at the same time, yeah, you could just come onto pit road, call it a day, and save that car. But at the same time, it is still a racetrack. It's still NASCAR. You still got to get that seat time with this car on that racetrack. I don't think we're going to see as many people coming on pit road than people expect, like what the pole sitter used to do. Mm-hmm. Just because it is a new car, it is going to be the 500. You want to get as much experience as possible before the big race.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I will say, practice the other day, it felt like they drafted a little more. They didn't like race a whole lot, but they drafted a little bit more than usual. And we have not yet seen a big crash with the next gen. Like last year, most years at Daytona, it's pretty chaotic until there's a big crash. Mm-hmm. And right now, even in the test a few weeks ago or a month or so ago, they got kind of racy. I remember watching the footage, a lot of 2 and even some 3 wide, and they never crashed it. So I feel like there's a chance at least that until they crash this car, which may not happen until Sunday, they might race more than we're giving them credit for. I don't know.
I will say this, and we noticed this in the test, and a lot of drivers have spoke kind of similar about this, is that this package that they have for the next gen kind of reminds a lot of them of the way that like the Gen 4 packages used to be, especially with the fact that when the people get side-by-side racing, and then you have like 5 or 6 train out front, they're gone. They escape from the field. So that's something I think that we're going to see if that's just testing or if we're going to see if that's actual race conditions.
Another thing I'm really interested in seeing tonight, some tandem drafting. We saw that in the testing a little bit and stuff. We'll see if if it has some sort of effect too. Like, if 2 cars can really get, a run on a whole pack. So we'll see if that.
We'll see. The bumpers don't line up quite as well as they did on the old car. But we saw some 2-car tandem testing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think the duels will be more... I think it could go either way. I think one's going to be chaotic, and I think the other will be a train. That's my prediction. Yeah. That's my guess. But whichever one Logano isn't in, they'll train. It's tough because also 2 of the most aggressive guys, Gregson and Villeneuve, are locked in, so they're not going to be pushing the issue. Or probably not. I don't know, but
Villeneuve might.
With that being said, it's true. He knows no bounds, no limits. But with that being said, we've got the lightning round on deck, and the lightning round is brought to you by our friends at Lionel Racing. Jarrett, Darian, they understood the assignment. I forgot to bring it to you guys. It didn't fit in my carry-on. But what do you guys have here today? Those are fantastic.
So I have this one. I always want to bring this up whenever I can. It's from the first Daytona 500 I ever watched, which was the first NASCAR race I ever watched, which was 2005. Jeff Gordon, race to win diecast. It's just, again, objectively my favorite Daytona 500. Like, my favorite one as a fan, of course, Junior winning. But objectively, when it comes to best, most entertaining, this race right here.
And what do you have right there? 27?
Yeah, so this is the pre-McDonald's curse. This is Jimmy Spencer's Mr. Excitement 27 Ford. I believe this is when he drove for, it was either Kel Yarborough or Junior Johnson, one of those guys. He won 2 races in, 1991, 90, something like that?
I can't remember.
It was both on...
Just before the curse began.
Yeah, it was both on plate tracks, Daytona and Talladega. It was only 2 career wins, and then we didn't see another McDonald's-sponsored win until Bubba Wallace. Well, let me see if they can... yeah, there you go. So,
I love this. This is super old school YouTube, just guys sitting on a couch. This is like 2008 YouTube. That's fantastic. Well, thank you to Lionel for sponsoring the show. Of course, you can pre-order your favorite drivers 2022 next-gen diecast right now at LionelRacing.com or at an authorized Lionel retailer. Of course, the latest NASCAR Authentics waves are also available at a Walmart near you. I got to check the Walmart down the road and see if they got Authentics. You never know what Florida may have. Texas Walmarts usually come in clutch for me, but Florida, Daytona weekend, hopefully they got their shipments in. But thank you to Lionel Racing for sponsoring the show. That leads us now to the lightning round. Jarrett?
And it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, what do we have on
Just
tap
as
today?
intense as you'd expect in person. My goodness.
We got some really interesting stuff. So, first one right here I saw announced, I believe on Sunday, is that former Packers and Raiders cornerback Charles Woodson is going to be the Grand Marshal for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. I saw Bob talk about that. Busch Beer is going to spend $10 million over the next 3 years to sponsor every female driver over the age of 21. Adam Stern reported that one.
Drink responsibly.
Yes, I've been doing plenty. The Daytona 500 is now a complete sellout. Not just the grandstands like previously announced, also suites, fan zone, and the infield, according to Jeff Gluck, completely sold out. They're estimating somewhere between 160,000, 180,000, which is around where it was back in 08, 09, 07. That's big.
Next gen hype.
So also it's reported that NY Racing is kind of trying to look to go full time if they can, according to Sirius XM Radio.
Gotta make the race first.
Yeah.
Gotta make an engine first.
And then Roger Penske says that Team Penske is actually planning to race in the Xfinity Series this season. Also, more news about the Biff. Greg Biffle probably is going to run the full SRX season in 2022, so keep an eye out on that one. And then to finally kind of cap this off here, Ty Gibbs is going to be running full-time in the Xfinity 54 car with Monster Energy as one of the sponsors. And Eric, I think you know something about that, or at least saw
nice
something.
little cameo.
They didn't reach out to me. I was surprised as anybody else. That was pretty cool to have a little.
Well, Ty Gibbs, he's been a fan of.
Yeah, we've talked to Ty Gibbs, but it was still really cool to see. But yeah, I'm excited for Ty Gibbs, 54 car. I like that he's kind of got. It's not the 18. It's sort of establishing. The 54 has been around a long time, but it's kind of establishing his own brand a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully they put more sponsors on that car. That's the fact that they only have Monster Energy to start the year. They waited this long, because they wanted to announce something big. Sport Clips has signed on a 10-year deal or something, but oh well.
I think it's cool, though, because, when you look back to about the mid-2010s when Kyle Busch would run the 54 and, it's established its own brand, Ty Gibbs and Monster, it seems to be very loyal to that driver. So, this could be an opportunity also for him to run well, because he already runs well to begin with, but a couple possible cup ride with Monster in the future.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. And you can tell Ty Gibbs kind of models himself after Kyle Busch. You can tell he's grown up watching him win, and I think that's sort of what he bases himself off of. So it kind of comes full circle. I think Monster probably likes that as well. But Darian, that's the lightning round, right?
And that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Wind up.
Oh hey, it's me again, here to tell you about Forney. Forney, get it done with green. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and much more. Great for do-it-yourselfers or if you're a professional metal worker, Forney has everything you need for your next project. So check them out at forneyInd.com. That's Forney, IND.com. You can check that link out down in the description below. Thanks to Forney Industries for sponsoring the NASCAR Weekly Podcast live from Florida. Now back to the couch again. Tonight, the Blue-Green Vacations duels will be beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Second one will be at 9 p.m. FS1. Weather seems clear. A 25% chance of rain. 60 laps each. Typical 150 milers. Yeah. The truck race, Friday, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1. 100-lap race, the Next Era Energy 250. Again, good weather. Warm. Of course, it's Florida. Only a 16% chance of rain. The Xfinity race, the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, will be Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern on FS1. It's after the ARCA race, actually. It's 120 laps, 15% chance of rain. A little bit cooler on Saturday, so maybe a little more grip, maybe a little racier. Then, of course, on Sunday, the Cup race, the Daytona 500, 2:30 Eastern, 200 laps. Right now, only a 4% chance of rain.
Yes!
Good so far.
And this is my first 500 I go to. It technically, zero chances of it possibly being
Oh my
right
God,
now.
you just...
I'm
no!
just saying 2014,
Just jinxed it.
2020,
The
2021.
jinxing on this couch right now.
This
that we
couch
could have.
is awful. Darian, you got your betting odds, of course. Who are the favorite? Before we make our picks, who are Vegas's favorites?
Well, according to VegasInsider.com, the favorites heading into this, the top 5 favorites, Danny Hamlin entering this weekend at plus 850. The absolute favorite. Second is Chase Elliott at plus 1,000, followed by Kyle Larson at plus 1,100. And then and then in fourth is Ryan Blaney with 1,200, and tying him in fifth is Joey Logano with also 1,200. Now, the best of the rest, these are kind of, about the middle of the pack in terms of the betting odds, but these are pretty good ones, I think. The 3 I have is Brad Keselowski at plus 1,600, Kevin Harvick at plus 1,800, and finally Bubba Wallace at 2,000. Now, for the final part of this betting odds segment, the underdogs, the final 5. These are the 5 biggest underdogs. So if you want to make a lot of money, you want to risk it all, go for these 5 here.
These are mine. These are my ones.
Yeah. These are the 5. So go for it. And so Justin Haley is the first underdog at plus 3,500. Michael McDowell, the defending Daytona 500 champion, is plus 6,000. So
disrespect.
Yeah, not the most respect I see. And then Noah Gragson, who locked his way into this year's Daytona 500, is plus 10,000. Corey LaJoie is also plus 10,000. And finally, the biggest one of them all, Cody Ware at plus 30,000.
Those are some wild odds.
Well, remember the thing about Corey LaJoie is he was leading last year in the fall race and was running up front for the win.
Yeah.
So, not a bad pick. I mean, plus 10,000, you can make a lot of money off Corey LaJoie.
Yeah.
And NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League, do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, so it'll be starting up this weekend. So it's currently full with 100 people, basically from last year's. Now, here's the thing. Whoever doesn't play the first week, you are going to be kicked out, so we can make room for others who do want to join it. So make sure to set your lineup so you don't get kicked.
And as for our picks, well, Darian, you did get the win, so you're leading.
Nice.
And then I got a second place pick, so I'm second, -7. The chat, you are third. You're -9 because your pick finished 5th. Eric, your pick finished 6th. You're the worst of those that made it because, well, Danny didn't get any points because Alex Bowman missed the race. We literally put it in our chat, and Danny just goes, "I've assumed my correct place." He literally said that. It was pretty funny, I'll be honest. But yeah, good job. You're leading early on like last year.
We'll see if it's if I can keep the consistency. We'll see.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, boys and girls, it is the Daytona 500 right around the corner.
Yeah.
We're going to make our Daytona 500 picks, and if you did by chance catch a glimpse of our very blurry minute-long live stream last night, you'll know that we also have a very special guest helping us pick The one and only Emp Lemon is back. He was one of our most popular guests last season in 2021. He was hanging out with us last night while we went through all of our many technical difficulties. We appreciate him spending his a large portion of his evening with us last night. But he was gracious enough before he left to give us all of his picks. So you will be seeing some special appearances from Emp Lemon here in just a moment. But boys, we've got a lot to pick. We got to start. We're not going to pick the duels tonight because it's just whatever. Yeah. We're going to start with the truck race tomorrow night, Friday night. I'm excited for the trucks this year. That race is usually nuts. I think 2 or 3 years in a row now it's ended with a photo finish. It's, Truck Series at Daytona is special. So I don't know what order we want to go in. Jarrett, do you have an order?
I mean, I figure we can just go in the order of points and seeing how Darian picked the winner of the Clash.
Nice.
I think Darian should go first. I'll go second. You're third.
All
and
right.
then I'll also read off Danny's after you go. And
that's right, Danny.
And then IDK, we'll save you for last. And
Let's
then
do it.
The chat, you guys can just leave them in the chat on this premiere, and either during it or after, we'll let you know what the picks are, and you'll know your rooting interest.
Yep. All right. So should I start us off?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say so.
All right. So for the Truck Series race, I'm just gonna go with Chandler Smith to win on Friday. Again, this race can be chaotic. I mean, he doesn't have the best track record necessarily on super speedways, but you know the KBM motor is a very powerful one. I like his chances.
Well, I am both picking for the win, and also because I need to make sure I stay caught up with Darian here. And there's someone who's been very consistent. There's someone who has been up front each year, and every time I pick him, people laugh, and then he finishes second. Jordan Anderson, I'm picking him to win. It's finally going to happen.
Finally.
3 years we've been waiting. Every year he comes up second by that much. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
He's got a strategy and he sticks to it. I'm going to go with a podcast favorite, you might say. Nobody would say that. In a DGR truck, I was in person at Talladega when he finished, I think, second, and arguably would have won that race if he didn't get shoved below the double yellow line. Fast Ford F-150. Riley Herbst going to win the truck race at Daytona. I'm going out on a limb.
That's a limb? Well,
I think
this
it's a
limit
limb.
for me. This
On
is gonna be worse
this
than that.
show, Riley Herbst anything is a limb.
Oh, okay.
I'll say this for Danny, he had a very similar mindset to me. He's picking Jordan Anderson as well. So
Oh, y'all are nice. Y'all
Yeah,
are so sweet.
I mean, he's good, man. He's good. You got it, okay.
Well, I mean, now that you told me that Jordan Anderson's in, I want Jordan Anderson to win, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's gonna whoever's going to win this truck race, it's just going to surprise everyone. So I'm being honest. I'm being 100% honest. I actually think Deegan's got a really good shot. I actually think Deegan can win. But, I mean, you look at the last truck race last year, a lot of cautions for 100 laps. They're going to be recycled, and I know there's going to be a lot of wrecks this year for trucks. I just have that feeling. We saw last year and in previous years before, a lot of these teams that seem to not run very well on intermediates and short tracks have really good advantages heading into race one. I think Deegan could possibly start the season strong and even get a win.
That'd be big.
That would be huge. Win at Daytona. All right, chat. Let us know who your pick is. Hopefully this is premiering properly. We'll take a look down below next week for sure. If not, as you're watching this, we might be in the chat. We'll let you know who your pick was for the Daytona retroactively.
Yeah.
Kind of awkward, but we'll do our very,
See how
very
it compares
best.
to Emps, too.
Yes, let's see what Emp Lemon had to say.
All right, so the truck race, pretty wide open this season. I really am not that familiar with all the drivers in the field. But looking at the entry list, I got a feeling this race is going to be crazy. Going to be a lot of wrecks. And I think Parker Kligerman, the 75 truck for Henderson Racing, I think it's Henderson Racing, whatever it is. Henderson Racing, Parker Kligerman, he sneaks through the melee, and he wins at Daytona in the Truck Series.
Parker Kligerman. That's a fun pick. I think that's.
I like it.
I like it. That's also a solid limb. We appreciate that. Next up, the Xfinity race Saturday. The beef. It's what's for dinner. 300
name. What's with these names?
I like
bro?
it. What do you mean? I think it's a good name. Beef.
Wait till you hear the Daytona PA guy be like, it's the beef. It's what's for dinner, 300.
I think it's great. Well, Darian, do you have a pick to start us off?
Oh yeah. You know, he just announced. Well, it's not really a surprise. We knew he was running full time. I'm gonna go with Ty Gibbs. You know, if he's gonna dominate this season anyway, why not start at Daytona, right? So Ty Gibbs.
Well, I would have picked Ty Gibbs, but see, I picked him almost every race he was in last year, and I can't do that this year. And to be honest, I want to kind of play it safe. I think I got to pick colleague car. And there's always one race in Speed Weeks that makes controversy. Always one of them. And I think that it's going to be the Xfinity race because I think the crypto car is going to win with Landon Castle. And we're going to have a great salt mine in Twitter and YouTube comments everywhere, seeing that the crypto car won and nothing else about the fact that Landon Castle won.
I wanted to pick Landon as well. I was going to go with a colleague driver. Yeah, I don't want to go too far out on a limb the way I did I feel like I did for my truck pick, but I'll go with one of his teammates. I'll go with Daniel Hemrick. You know, he's new to colleague this year. He was, with Gibbs last season, ran fine, but won the championship, but was fine on the super speedways. I think this year he'll work well with his new teammates. It'll be like an initiation ceremony, and it'll be Daniel Hemrick. Yeah.
Man, we are feeling the colleague train here, but it ain't any of them that you and I picked. It's AJ Allmendinger for Danny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got the dinger. So we got the entire trifecta here ready to go.
Love it.
I'm going to also have to go with Ty Gibbs. I mean, he has a lot of momentum off of last season. He has a lot of confidence. I mean, you can just see in interviews, you just see how he's handling himself, including at a young age. I really think Ty Gibbs can go and prevail, including if the package is pretty similar to last year. Because, I mean, we saw what happened last year in the spring where it felt like Cindric was just able to hold dominance of the field. And, yes, it was the same package that they raced at Daytona in the summer, and we had that photo finish. I think if Gibbs can just get out there and kind of do the same strategy there as Cindric, I think he's going to come out with the win.
Now, let's see again what our friend Emp Lemon said. Who was his pick for the Xfinity Series?
So the beef, it's What's for Dinner 300. Last year, we saw Daniel Hemrick have the character arc of the entire 2020s decade. He comes through, wins in the most clutch moment possible to score his first career win and first career championship at the same time. I think the monkey's off his back. The floodgates are open. He's on colleague, who have been very historically fast at Daytona for the past few seasons. Daniel Hemrick, my pick to win. Get the beef trophy in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
All right, well, we agree on that one. I appreciate that. Thanks again to Emp. Lastly, it's the Daytona 500. Sunday, I think, is it 3 o'clock, 2:30 Eastern?
2:30 Eastern.
2:30 Eastern on Fox. The weather, fingers crossed, knock on wood, looks decent. It looks like it'll probably at least start on time, maybe even finish on time. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But let's begin with our typical who's gonna suck pick. Darian, start us off. Who's gonna suck in this year's Daytona 500?
This guy got the pole last night, but unfortunately, just his track record on super speedways is not good at all. Kyle Larson, sorry folks, he is going to be a championship contender, but he won't be off to the best start this season.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one because this guy is really good at Talladega, but he just does not do well at Daytona. He has one win at Daytona, and it wasn't the Daytona 500. I'm going to go Brad Keselowski. He is one of, when it comes to statistics, he's one of the worst ones at Daytona. He crashes pretty much every race. And it might not be his own doing, but still, either way, he sucks at it at times. And so I think he's going to suck this week.
Yeah, his Daytona 500 record's not great, but he's so good on super speedways. I can't go Keselowski. I was a little surprised. The RFK cars did not seem super fast in qualifying. I was a little surprised by that. But I'm going to go with Kurt Busch. I don't know. That 45 car just doesn't look quite right to begin this season. He was slower than Bubba in qualifying yesterday, and he didn't even make the show in the Clash. Granted, he got kind of KO'd at the very end there, but still, I feel like they're not off to a hot start. I think that's going to continue here at Daytona.
Okay, so there's a stat that I feel like has not been talked about just yet. The pole sitter of the 500 has not won since, I think, possibly ever, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a very, very long time. Someone's going to have to fact check it. But just because of that statistic alone, I'm going to have to go with also Larson not doing well. I feel like there's just something about starting on the pole and the Daytona 500 that you just cannot get the win. I don't know what it's about. I mean, originally I thought maybe Logano was not going to do it because I think a lot of these guys that they always look at, everyone that looks at certain drivers, statistically from what I saw on Twitter or just in general, it's like a jinx and all of a sudden they don't do well, but I have to go with Kyle Larson not doing well.
So then, who did Danny pick? Did we give Danny's pick?
Danny also picked Kyle Larson.
Of course.
I think we saw a pretty good case study last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Emp Lemon, who did he go with?
So Kyle Larson is my pick to suck. He may be on the pole, he may be coming off the championship, but his restrictor plate performances are not stellar. And correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like Hendrick has dominated qualifying for the past 5 seasons, and then they get to the Daytona 500 and they get caught up in the big one and have all sorts of misfortune. I don't really see them breaking the trend this time. I see trouble coming Kyle Larson's way, and I think he's not going to be at a good finish by the end of it.
Gosh, all of everyone picking Kyle Larson. What a
Watch he wins.
It's gonna be the year of Larson once again. Well, now let's switch to a slightly more positive note, a little more uplifting. Our favorite underdogs. Who's the dark horse for Daytona this weekend, Darian?
So I had it up between two guys, either Jacques Villeneuve or Noah Gragson, since they officially made the race. I'm going to go with Noah Gragson. His Cup Series debut. He's also going to be running in multiple races with Colleague this year. But, he's going to go all out for this one. So, he's going to be extremely aggressive. So we'll see what happens. Noah Gragson.
Mine would be laughable a year ago. It'd be completely laughable. It'd be laughable before the Clash. And I think that now it's, you could argue it still might be. But I think that this guy, after showing that in his equipment could run well in the Clash, runs respectively at super speedways. We talked about earlier, has plus 30,000 odds to win this race. I think a dark horse pick, Cody Ware. I think he's a dark horse.
That's a
shocker. First
shocker.
time ever that he's been a dark horse.
Yeah.
That's a shocker. At first I thought I knew where you were going with this, and then you kind of pivoted a little bit. I'm going with a guy who's full-time in Cup this year. He's won a bunch of Xfinity races at super speedways. Justin Haley. I think you got to go with Haley, see what he can do in that 31 car.
And you and Danny are agreeing on a lot.
Did he say Haley as well?
He says Haley as well.
Oh, no, I feel like I'm doomed. Where did Danny finish in points last year?
Last.
The basement.
Oh, no.
The basement.
So personally, I don't think anyone's giving a lot of talk here to Harrison Burton. We talked about super speedways. I don't like calling it a wild card. I know some people do, but going to a new season here and his first season in Cup, I think it's a great opportunity for him to be something up front that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about. So I got to go with Harrison Burton.
21 was good last year.
Yeah.
And then what did they say? I think Mike Joyce said it during qualifying that, 11 years ago, 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, Trevor Bayne in his second start won in that car.
And this is Harrison Burton's second start. And in his debut, got a top 5, top 10.
Something
It was
like
on,
that.
he was running Dega, yeah.
He was around.
Yeah.
What did Emp Lemon say?
So one of the big surprises I feel in qualifying was Trackhouse Racing. They showed a lot of speed, and the fastest Trackhouse driver was Ross Chastain in the one car. I think 3 or 4 years ago he won at Daytona in the Xfinity Series, so he's shown, if anything, if he's going to win, it can be at Daytona. Ross Chastain is my dark horse to throw the watermelon into the pavement in victory lane, hopefully.
It's a good one. He was fast in single car qualifying, at least. We'll see if that translates to the race. But now, boys, it's time for the main event. Who wins? I don't even know what you're 63rd, 64th?
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win the 64th annual Daytona 500?
I hope we got that number
It's the
right.
64th.
Are you sure?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, I promise.
I'm not. Well, start us off. Who's going to win?
All right, who's gonna win the Daytona 500? Obviously this race can be chaotic. Everybody has a shot at it. But if we're gonna look at recent history, that's gonna play a factor. Denny Hamlin's gonna win another Daytona 500. He was going for the three-peat last year. Didn't quite work out at the end, but I think he has a fast hot rod. He'll have a good enough hot rod to pull it off this year, and that'll make it 4 Daytona 500.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 Daytona 500. So yeah, Denny Hamlin.
Well, this guy has been pretty good at super speedways in the past. Granted, a different generation of car. And I know we've talked about, the Chevys are up front, but qualifying is a different beast than in the draft. And in the draft, the Fords were the guys to beat. I think this guy's going to continue his upward trajectory in his career. I think he's going to continue doing well at super speedways. And I think the most recent winner at a Daytona points race is going to win the Daytona 500. Ryan Blaney is my pick. My brother's favorite driver is my pick. So I hope he wins for that too. But I really do think that Ryan Blaney is going to be the one to beat.
You stole my pick. I'm a little disappointed.
We've continued that trend.
Yeah, well, we made it this far, at least this season. Took us, not even a full race. I'm going to go... You know what? It's the Daytona 500. I don't think I can pivot off my pick. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney as well. He's proven to be a great super speedway racer. The Penske cars are fast. I think he breaks through and wins the biggest race on the biggest stage. I think that's a solid pick. I'm not going to go away from it.
Well, and Danny is staying on the Penske train as well. And maybe for you Joey Logano haters, you might like this because he's picking Joey Logano to win.
I thought you were going to say he's picking Cindric or something.
No, he's picking Joey Logano. So Logano might wreck the two again,
Yeah.
like he seems to. But yeah, Danny's pick is Joey Logano, which I don't think is a bad pick at all.
No.
Well, I mean, come on, we all know who I'm going to pick.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. Every time I've been on this show, I picked a certain amount of drivers. I think actually you've laughed or rolled your eyes every time I said this driver. But at least after qualifying, I have something to say. I think it's going to be Eric Almirola. I mean, come on. You just have to look at the speed. You look at qualifying, and it is his last season. Yeah. He is not going to give this one up. There is just no way. I mean, we looked at 2018. He got turned by Dylan. Still not over it. But, I really think, when it's your last season, and you can put that in your head as a human being, this is your last shot. The second you either cross the line or get wrecked out on Sunday, that was it. Mm-hmm. I think heading in all honesty, he's going to try to go down like this is it. It's all goes or nothing goes for the 500.
It's going to hit him at some point that it's like, this is it.
And this is his home track, too, at the same time.
Yeah, yep. He's had success here in the past, so I like that pick. Who did Emp pick?
So it's a new era with a new car. And I think back to the first race of the COT era. And who was the winner of that race? It was a young Kyle Busch in just his third full-time season of NASCAR. Now I believe this is his 18th try at Daytona. He has not won. He's having sort of the Dale Earnhardt, Tony Stewart, Mark Martin effect where people are wondering when he's going to win it, if it's ever going to happen. His car number 18, his 18th try, I think. If I'm wrong, he's going to get caught up in the big one. But I think he gets through this year. It's a new car, pretty even playing field, and I think that in this case, the experience prevails. Kyle Busch finally gets the Daytona 500 victory.
I like it. So a few of us picked first time winner. We both picked first time. Who would be first time winners? You picked first time winner, Blaney. So I guess
I was the only established.
Yeah, you're the only
established. And Logano was for
Danny's pick.
Too.
That's cool. Well, we're all rooting for good stories. We went to Hamlin to be on a record-breaking pace. I think there's some good stories that we're rooting for here. It's going to be fun regardless. The Daytona 500 Sunday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time.
We're getting closer to noon.
All these different time zones. I was the West Coast a couple weeks ago. East Coast, I'm lost at this point, but it's going to be fun. We're all going to be there in person. It's going to be a great show. Boys, I think that's going to do it for a really random, weird edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Yeah, a unique one.
A unique one for sure. Yeah. Next week, Wednesday night, we will be back live on Danny's channel. Whoa, Danny, whoa.
He's around.
Danny. We will be live next week. Live once again. We promise you we won't be on the road in a remote lake house this time. So we will see you all there. Really appreciate the support. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap this show up?
I don't expect a lot of cautions. I'm going to be 100% certain. I honestly think we're going to see the big one. I just don't see a lot of cautions early. I don't see a repeat of last year. I see a lot of these guys going in, not just thinking about the 500, but also thinking about Auto Club, also thinking about Vegas, because you don't know when you will get another car with just how everything's going right now.
We could potentially, on one hand, we could have one of the best 500s ever, but then on the other hand, could have another edition of the 2013 one just to save their cars for the long game.
That drafting package reminds me so much of this kind of era. And something people forget from that era is that it was very spread out. Mm-hmm. And handling mattered a lot more. And I think we could see a spread out 500 that's only kept together by stage cautions in the first half.
Yeah.
Drivers seem to like the package, and ultimately Daytona 500 pays more than Auto Club or Las Vegas. So I think when it's all on the line, chips are on the table, they're going to go for it. I just made a Las Vegas reference at Daytona. I can't believe I just did that 2 weeks early. We're going to get enough of that.
You're already ahead of Fox on it.
Oh, gosh. Well, on that note, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you to IDK Player for joining us live in the flesh.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and Emp Lemon as well for spending the evening with us and chiming in, giving us his highly anticipated Daytona 500 picks. We'll be back live in less than a week, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Danny B Talks. We will see you all there. Thanks for sticking with us, y'all. We'll see you out at the racetrack.
Dale call.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, wow, it didn't blow out the mic.
Goodbye.
Later, y'all.
Green, green, green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best!